Welcome to the Workplace Minute, powered by H3 HR Advisors, your quick briefing on what's important in the world of work. This week, we're exploring 5 major ways the newly passed Big Beautiful Bill will impact work, workplaces, and workers in the U.S., some of which may be news to you. The Workplace Minute is brought to you by our friends at WorkHuman, a technology company helping organizations to build more human-centered workplaces. If you care about the future of work, make sure to subscribe and share these episodes with your colleagues. My name is Steve Boese. Today, in episode 3 of our week-long series on the Big Beautiful Bill, we're diving into the green energy economy, what it is, how it's become one of the fastest-growing employment sectors in the U.S., and how the Big Beautiful Bill could reshape its future and impact millions of American workers. We explore what's at stake for one of the most important emerging labor markets in the U.S. Green energy refers to electricity and fuel generated from sustainable sources such as solar, wind, geothermal, hydropower, and clean hydrogen. These resources are considered green because they don't emit greenhouse gases during production, making them vital tools in the effort to combat climate change, reduce pollution, and build more resilient and independent energy systems. In the last decade, green energy has grown in both scale and importance in the U.S. due to a combination of environmental urgency, falling tech costs, geopolitics, and federal and state level incentives that have made renewables increasingly competitive with fossil fuels. Today, the clean energy sector employs nearly 3.5 million people in the U.S., and it added more than 142,000 new jobs in 2023 alone, according to the U.S. Department of Energy. That's more than double the rate of national job growth across all sectors. These jobs span a wide range of occupations: solar panel installers, wind turbine technicians, civil and electrical engineers, battery technicians, construction workers, and manufacturing roles tied to clean energy equipment production. Many of these are considered high-quality jobs, often offering union representation, strong wages, and advancement opportunities. In fact, clean energy jobs are more likely to be unionized than the national average, and they tend to provide better benefits than similarly skilled roles in other industries. Big Beautiful Bill, however, introduces sweeping changes that may put that momentum at risk. Chief among these is the accelerated expiration of key green energy tax credits, specifically the production tax credit and the investment tax credit for new wind, solar, and battery storage projects. Under the bill, these credits will no longer apply to projects that begin construction after December 31st, 2027. Residential solar tax credits and electric vehicle incentives are also being phased out, as are credits for clean hydrogen development. In short, the green energy incentives introduced under the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 are now being scaled back dramatically, with a clear shift in policy focus away from clean energy and towards fossil fuel-based energy production. The rationale behind these changes depends on your point of view. Supporters of these rollbacks, primarily Republican lawmakers and fossil fuel-producing states' leaders, argue that these provisions correct what they see as market distortions and government overreach. They claim that the clean energy sector should stand on its own without subsidies, and that federal dollars should instead support domestic energy independence, which in their view includes expanded fossil fuel production. These leaders are also emphasizing cost controls, framing the move as a way to curb long-term federal spending. Critics, however, see the cuts as a major step backward for both the economy and the environment. And industry groups like the Solar Energy Industries Association and the American Clean Power Association warn that the rollback could lead to hundreds of thousands of lost jobs, closed factories, delayed or canceled projects, and reduced investment in communities that were benefiting from the clean energy boom. And nonpartisan projections from organizations like the Princeton Zero Lab and the Energy Innovation estimate that the bill could result in the loss of 760,000 to 840,000 green jobs by 2030 if the policies remain unchanged. And these projections are especially troubling when you consider that before the bill passed, the clean energy labor market was expected to expand rapidly. According to the 2024 U.S. Energy and Employment Report, Jobs in clean energy generation, transmission, and energy efficiency were projected to grow by 8% to 10% annually through 2030, paced significantly faster than nearly any other sector. This would have translated into the creation of more than 1.5 million new clean energy jobs by the end of the decade, with many of these jobs located in rural areas, former coal communities, and states that had invested heavily in renewable infrastructure. Now, projected growth is in serious doubt. Instead of accelerating, we may see mass layoffs, frozen hiring, and a slow unraveling of the green jobs pipeline that had been gaining bipartisan support just 2 years ago. The impact on workers is likely to be uneven. States like Texas, with both more than 12,000 solar energy jobs, could see disproportionate effects if solar projects are delayed or canceled. The same goes for states like California, North Carolina, Georgia, and Colorado, where clean energy investments have been strong and job growth has outpaced national averages. Small and mid-sized manufacturers that pivoted to supplying parts for solar panels, EV components, or wind turbines may be forced to scale back or even shut down. And education and training programs in green energy technology, many of which were launched at community colleges and technical schools, may lose their funding or their relevance if demand for new green workers dries up. Despite these policy shifts, green energy will not disappear overnight. Cost of solar, wind, and battery storage has dropped by more than 70% in the last decade, and many utilities and large companies remain committed to clean energy goals for financial, environmental, and reputational reasons. The pace of growth will almost certainly slow, and uncertainty about future policy may discourage investment and innovation just when momentum had finally tipped towards clean power. For employers and workforce planners, this means it's time to get strategic. Companies that operate in or around the green economy should prepare for a new policy landscape. This includes reassessing hiring projections, reevaluating capital investment plans, keeping a close watch on state-level incentives that may fill the gap left behind by federal rollbacks. Employers should also communicate clearly with employees about potential changes to projects or staffing, and if needed, invest in workforce reskilling or redeployment to try and avoid layoffs. For companies with federal clean energy contracts or partnerships, working closely with legal and compliance teams will be essential to ensure no incentives are lost due to timing or missed deadlines. That's it for our episode 3, our deep dive into green energy, clean jobs, and the high-stake policy shift introduced by the Big Beautiful Bill. Tomorrow, we're taking on another controversial provision that was actually not included in the bill: changes to liability rules for the use of artificial intelligence in hiring and HR systems. And thanks as always to WorkHuman for sponsoring today's Workplace Minute. If today's episode gave you something to think about, share it with a colleague who cares about the future of energy, jobs, and the American workforce. And we'll continue to follow this and all the important topics and trends in the world of work here on the HR Happy Hour Media Network. This has been Steve Boese for the Workplace Minute, powered by H3 HR Advisors.